So back with the last action of the weekend, and another cracker, isn't it? Here we go. Clint versus Shaun Storry. I mean, how good do you need to be to not just make one final? I mean, let's just put this into context. 192 players turned up this weekend. And we're talking about some of the best in the country. Your Cousins, your Hibberts, your Harrisons, Brennans, and this guy has made 2 finals. Some of the people in the field will give their right arm to make 1 final. Shaun Storry just makes 2. Why not? He'll want a different result in this one than he did in the other. He made a couple of errors in that other one, and ultimately it cost him. He came up against Dick Brennan in supreme form, but he would have put that behind him by now, and here he is again playing Clint. Shaun from Essex Way, Chelmsford, Clint from Nottingham. It's got a lovely angle on the one nearest the bulk line, just to run on and off the side cushion to leave the other red into the middle. Need to be delicate, need to control the pace because there's a lot of traffic around there. Doesn't want to be dead straight. If he is, then it just makes it a little more tricky because going to have to just leave the cue ball in the gap between the two yellows. Would have liked a tiny angle just to stun through the gap, but yeah, just had enough to be able to force it through. A little bit of a compromise. It's kind of between both now. It's a thin cut back into the middle, or it's a kind of just over half ball to the bottom left. That's what he's looking at, and he's looking at canning into the yellow to hold the cue ball. He's a good shot. Perfect. That is a lovely clearance. So who do you fancy for this one, guys? Race to 6. Well, a split. And that's reminiscent of the final versus deck. Big breaks from Shaun, not making a ball. Just got away from him. He was trying to hold for the red on the bulk line. Would like to have taken that out now because they just prefer to take them out in stages, kind of take the ones at the top of the table first, because now he needs to go back up to deal with that one. Shouldn't pose any problem. Especially as this red goes to middle now. A series of drops, and the key now is just leaving the right angle on his last ball to go back up table to take that red. I don't actually think he'll want to take the red at the top of the table last, because then he needs to find a way. He'd like to leave one of these reds at the bottom of the table to get onto the black. There's too much traffic in the yellows across the middle of the table, so this is what I mean. This yellow at the red at the top is always going to cause a little bit of an issue because of having to go back up for it. He's got a good angle now to stun across onto it. Just wants to finish kind of just to the pretty big margin of error, just to the right of these three yellows. Just stun up. Yeah, that's fine. Thought for a second he just overhit it, but this looks good. Again, a fairly natural line to come across the side rail, and then back through the gap between the yellows and black. There's a lot of room, decent margin of error. Just needs to pick the line, commit to it. Just another nice clearance. One frame each. I wonder if Shaun will just have it in his mind now about that break. He's gone dry on a few, despite the fact that, I mean, I saw him after the final and he said that, you know, I can't hit the break much better, but I'm not making a ball. Going dry again there just will compound that slightly. Cut break from Clint. Good power. Decent layout. Obviously your eyes are drawn to the red and yellow on the left-hand rail. I think he's in trouble. I'm not sure. It's so difficult to see from here with it. Well, like, even from there, he's kind of glued up alongside the red. Can he get through? Yeah, he must be able to. He's queuing it. Yeah, it's fine. Just thought he was in trouble for a second. I didn't know if he could get through that gap or not. Cue ball on a string. Brilliant. He is a man who's very much in control of his game at the moment. Reassuringly good. Shaun having taken that first frame. Clint taking the next, but it is actually on serve because Shaun's breaking the next. Does need to find a ball though. Going for the cut. Changing it up. Just can't buy a ball. frustrating when you know you're playing well, and he knows he's playing well. 2 finals in a weekend. Frustrating when you just can't make a ball. Get to the final and it dries up on you. Clint spotted the plant through the gap. Screws back into the yellow to open the other red, and suddenly, with that one shot, turns it into a great opportunity. Just working out the pattern. Again, lots of traffic at the yellows, so it's left a nice angle. You can just float the white through the gap. He'll be happy if he finishes dead straight on the red to middle. You can play this red to bottom left as his last ball, screw back up table for the black. Under hit. He was actually playing this one down the left-hand side as his penultimate ball to screw off the side cushion back out for the one over the middle. I think either or. Could have just come further up table, left a straight red into the middle, and kind of left this one to the bottom corner and screwed the cue ball straight back up table. But either way, he's under hit, and suddenly I think he's only really got a double. He's looking closely, but even if he can turn the cue ball over, it doesn't really do him any favours. I don't think he can turn it over and get back out for the other red. Ultimately, I think, I can't see the angle from here, but I think he's probably going to have to take on the double. Or is he just going to take it long and try and, yeah, double it was. Let's let Shaun back in. Take the left of the two yellows to top corner, just run into the other one, push it over the pocket. Or just stun off it, either or. And you go look to see whether, after nudging the yellow, whether it's still past the red. Certainly does now. I like this about Shaun, I really do. He's, I mean, on the face of it, it just looks like a few tap-ins, and many other players would have just dropped this in, but he really is wanting to pick the right line for the cue ball, and I like that attention to detail. It just gives him his focus. And it means there's no drama, and ultimately he leaves himself an unmissable black. As I say, there's other players who wouldn't have even taken that care and attention. They're just like, well, I've basically got 3 drop-ins. But had you just picked slightly the wrong angle on the one over the left centre, then you have to end up leaving the cue ball below the pocket and leave yourself a slightly trickier black that you'd expect to get. But, you know, there's always that. Even if it's just like a 3% chance you're going to miss it, why do that? Let's aim for perfection, give yourself an unmissable black. And I just like the fact that he just stood up on it a couple of times just to pick the exact line. Where do you think it goes from here then, guys? It's obviously locked up at 2 frames apiece from what you've seen so far. What do you think the score is going to be? Who's the winner of this one? I think, in all honesty, Shaun will be the happier of the 2 players. He's had 2 dry breaks, and he's at 2 apiece. Clint will know that really should have been 3-1. Just one slightly careless positional shot. Just quarter of a roll. Shaun just stepped away for a moment. He's on his way back in now. Wow. Cue ball finds its way to the right centre. And the margins are so fine in this, that could be the difference in this game. There's no dangers. Every ball has a pocket. And the one good thing for Shaun is that the table's, well, it's divided in half. All the yellows on one side, all the reds on the other. So he doesn't really have to contend with that much traffic. We're taking the ball closest to the left-hand rail next. Just stunning back out. He literally does not want to be moving that cue ball more than 6 or 8 inches on any one of these shots. He just wants to keep close control over this side of the table. Barely even needs to hit a cushion apart from just stunning on and off. So the bottom one of the two, drop it into the middle. He just showed you where he's with his cue where he wants to be. He's going to leave. Well, that's just, I mean, if it's super critical, it's probably just gone a quarter of a roll too far. It's just left him a slightly awkward angle where he's going to be running into the other yellow. And you can see there he's just finished a tiny bit high. If he was straight, it was just a simple stop shot. It's not going to cause him any problems because he can just run into the yellow and push it towards the pocket, but it's just that added degree that wasn't necessary if he finishes straight. If he finishes straight, he literally has 3 stop shots. There's times like this where it can go wrong. It's unlikely. Decide to screw on and off rather than running into it. He's back in prime. Clint being punished to the max for that in-off. In fairness, it's not very often we see it in-off from the cut break. Cue ball tends towards the side rail. And then there's generally too much traffic for the cue ball to then hit the side rail and bounce across to go in-off, but somehow found a path. 3-2 to Shaun Storry. He will break in the 6th frame. He's not potted a ball off the break yet. That's 3 breaks. 3 times he's gone dry. Yet somehow he's winning. Cannot buy a ball off the break. You know, there's other people that would be sat in the corner shaking their head and ruin their misfortune. Shaun's like, meh. Reds look pretty decent here, but obviously Clint having to give this a bit of thought because you've got this one red at the bottom of the table towards the left-hand pocket, which has got a lot of traffic around it. It doesn't really need to disturb anything if he can avoid it. The issue with that red, it will pot, but it's getting the cue ball back out again because there's like there's 4 goalkeepers around. There's no path back out, so he may elect to try and disturb something down there. He's left an angle to either drop on it or move something, but I don't think you want to move anything because it can go wrong. And at the moment, everything's possible, but it's finding that path out. So I think probably pot this red to bottom left. He's either going to try and screw off the yellow or maybe even just try and hold the cue ball down there for the red in the right middle. But the way he was cueing there, it looks like he's going to try and screw off the yellow that's next to it. Well, he bought himself the angle, didn't he? He played it off the ball, so he bought himself a different angle, and this has come out okay. Good shot. Oh. Just seemed to throw the shoulder into that a bit. It just didn't feel right. I think he jumped up on it slightly. It was just one of those. It needed to be cued well. It wasn't a difficult pot, but the problem was he had totally the wrong angle, and he needed to cue the cue ball through the gap and back across again, and just seemed to throw the shoulder at it slightly. I mean, it's easy to be harsh from the commentary box. It's I think it's a nod to how good these guys really are, because when they do miss a ball, you're actually surprised. It's a little bit of shock when you remember actually they are human. See the advertising in the background there, Dishes, Pool and Snooker Club, Bullets Sports Bar. That's Holy Bell's Place, down in Yeovil. To MK, the club over there in Milton Keynes. You'll see the posters up around the arena of the sponsors, and we do thank those sponsors for supporting this event. Spencer's, you see, Spots and Stripes from London. Super shot. Judged it really well. That was easy to overhit. He's just got the right pace. I think, yeah, I was going to say just hold any full ball contact on this red. It looks fairly natural to just come down full ball on the red to leave. He's not happy about something. full ball contact would have left him pretty much perfect for the middle bag, but he caught it half ball, and I think that's why he stood up. He was just worried about the contact with the red. He's left at half ball, and that's the difference between having a fairly easy shot and this nasty little cut to middle. There you go. Difference between winning the frame and possibly losing the frame. I often say it, but it is such fine margins. Any thicker contact on that red, and it's frame over to Shaun and a 4-2 lead. And that missed ball from Clint looks like he may well get away with it. Be more than happy to be straight or just off straight. Doesn't need to do a lot with the cue ball, just screw it out. 4 or 5 inches. Just about timing it. Looking at the angle of the black to middle. He's got a nice angle to stun across to get behind it. Went in the top of the pocket. I think just for a second he was giving it a bit of a look. It dropped in to the top of the pocket, but drop in it did, and that's 3 frames each, and that really is a let-off for Clint. That should have been punished for that miss. Both of these players had a turnaround in their semi-finals. They were both looking down the barrel. It was a race to 5, and one of them was 3-1 behind, and the other was 3-0 behind. Clint breaks off in the 7th frame. The last ball moving finds its way into the pocket, as so often happens when things are running your way. And Clint should really have been stewing at 4-2 behind, but having been let off, he's got a new lease, and that will be very much behind him now. And from that position of looking down the barrel of 4-2, he's broke dish the next, and here he is about to take the lead himself. So the pendulum swinging both ways. Clint needs 2 more. Shaun's breaking the next. Clint needing 2 more. This is a must-win frame for Shaun, because Clint will be breaking in the next if he wins this one. And I mean, he's tried everything with the break. He's tried different sides. He's tried the cut break. He's gone back to power on that one, and in all honesty, not timed it the best, but 4 breaks, all dry. Sometimes you just feel like maybe your name's not on it. Must be frustrating after a while. I'd be interested actually to know the stat between the two finals. How many times he's dry broke? 4 in this one, at least 2 or 3 in the other. I mean, they only played 8 frames in the other final. These yellows. What can you do when you can't make a ball? Black is the obvious issue, but pretty sure it goes to right middle. So it's just a case of landing on it, and he's got a decent margin of error, so mind you, not the best of angles. I think he would have liked to have left an angle whereby he could have just stunned down off the side rail. This does make it a little more difficult. As I say, it's a decent margin of error, but it's not massive. He's got a screw back off the side rail. Could definitely go wrong. Well, he's there. He's done the main thing, and that is given himself a shot. You can often criticise a player for not giving himself a shot on the black, and Clint's just kind of taken his medicine, played to an area, and given himself a shot. And it's one really you would expect him to make. The only difficulty is this is world rules, so if he pots a red, then it's going to be loss of frame. So he has to be a little bit careful of that. Nice. Very nice. And the dry breaks are really starting to hurt Shaun Storry. Has the damage already been done? Clint's breaking the next, his destiny in his own hands. another massive break. Oh, I said earlier about the last ball moving going in. Clint knew how big that one was. He had a grimace as he walked away from the table. He just needed one more. If he could have found a ball there, and that's game over. He's just trying to look at the table. I mean, big issue for yellows is the one tied up on the bottom rail. The main problem for reds is he doesn't have an opener. Well, I say he doesn't have an opener. Tell a lie, he's got the one which is pretty much on what would be the brown spot. He clearly has a plan for this yellow at the bottom of the table. I just worry about it. I always worry when the ball is on the inside, because if you look at, it's not that easy to get out because you've got the red. It's not like you can knock into it and be guaranteed a go at it, because you've got the red on to the left of it. So it's easy to push that over onto the other red. Disappointed with that. You could see him prodding the table. I think he was leaving an angle to try and get across there. Now he's definitely going to want to get into it early. Needs to leave the ball at the top of the table to get onto the black, so it needs to be one of these balls to leave an angle. Got it this time, I think. No. He made a comment. I think even now, I mean, he's definitely got an angle, but he's really going to have to force it across. Just needed an inch less of pace, which would have made it more natural. The other option, I don't think it's on, but whether he could have played that yellow and just glanced off the red. Needs to force this across. Yeah. And this is what I said right at the off. You're better off having the ball on the outside, because any kind of nudge, and all you need to do is promote that ball onto the pocket. When it's on the inside, you've got to get it out. And, you know, he might have to play that shot that I mentioned a second ago. He's just moved things around down there slightly. And I think he's going to have to play this this yellow off the rail. So rail first, off the back of the red. But there's still quite a bit that can go wrong. Has to think about the pace, has to think about where the cue ball's going. Needs the red to get out of the way, and needs to remember to pot it. Big shot. Could be his last shot. Could have been worse. He's misjudged it by a margin. He almost potted it clean. He was going for rail first and then off the back of the red to move the red to one side. As I say, it could have been worse, because he could have left everything open. He's given Clint a little bit of a headache with this red on the table, but Clint with 7 balls on, he can just take control here. He's even got an angle on the ball over the right middle. He can screw down into that and disturb it now if he wants to. I'm not sure if he will, but there you go. He did. He thought it was the right time. He's not landed on anything at the bottom of the table, so he's going to have to go back up. The options are take the rightmost ball, cut it into top right, or the one at the bottom of the triangle into top left. Neither are particularly great options, but I think the one to the right is slightly easier. Again, played it well, but the cue ball was always tracking towards the black. So, still not in prime position, but again, left with a long pop to bottom left or a thin, nasty little cut to middle right. And has the black gone across the path of the red, blocking it to top left? A lot of work still to be done here. This one by no means over. And he's tried a safety. You can see why he's done that, because that really wasn't a nice table. He's tried to just get that red inside and not done it. He's left a plant, which is a tricky plant, but Shaun will be very happy just to be back at the table. Not much to do with the cue ball, which is a good thing because he can just hold on the red, so he can focus firmly on the plant. Needs to be the right pace as well, so he doesn't lose the yellow. Played it well. So again, got the dog's life. Shaun Storry wins the frame. It's now 5 frames to 4. Shaun's breaking in the next, but he has the problem that he's had 4 dry breaks. That's going to be very much in his mind. He's tried lots of different things. He's tried the power, he's tried the left, he's tried the right, he's tried the cut break. What's he going to do this time? He knows he must make a ball. Surely law of averages, isn't it? Law of averages says you've got to get one eventually. What's he going to try? It's the cut break again. Holy moly. 5 breaks. All dry. Again, maybe didn't quite catch those as cleanly as he would have liked. Didn't really get that big burst that you sometimes see from the cut break, but even so, 5 breaks, all all dry, and is that what's going to cost him this final and the title of the Jason Owen Open champion? Key to the frame right here in this plan. He gets it, and now difficult to see too many obstacles, I suppose. If you're looking for a potential banana skin, it would be the two yellows over the left centre. Just not a set plan. It's just about what he does with that. And I think he can make the plan from there. That looks perfect. I think he can make the plan and play it at such a pace. He'll just send the other yellow down table. It's just about the pace. Not too much can go wrong with this. The yellow he's hitting is just going to come down over this. Oh, it's a little bit straighter than I thought. He could pinch the pocket. I thought I had a little bit more angle than that. Even easier then. You could just drop it in. Good stuff from Clint, and you have to say commiserations for Shaun. His break really has let him down at the most crucial of times. 5 dry breaks just does not cut it at this level, and he's not really done too much else wrong. He's played well throughout to get to 2 finals, and you see the little fist pump from Clint. He's very happy to take that one, but Shaun can walk away from this with his head held high. He's made 2 finals in an incredible field of 192 players, and you can see he's just kind of resigned himself, put his hand up and said, "Ah well." Do you know what? I have to say, I thoroughly enjoyed that weekend of pool. I've been looking forward to it for quite a long time. We've had, I don't know how many cancelled events, how many cancelled tours due to the problems that we've had in the country over the last 18 months or so. But here we are, we finally made it to Blackpool. We finally got this first tour underway, and it was brilliant. Hats off to the winners, to Harriet Haynes, who won the ladies, to Clint Hansen, who won the Jason Owen Open, and to Declan Brennan, who won the main event. As I say, not much else to say than a fantastic week, and hats off to the man in the white t-shirt there in the middle of the picture. That's Neil Toms. He's the organiser of this event, and he has been spectacular. Paul's the winner, and I hope you guys have enjoyed the event. Thanks so much to the Beard Productions team, to Paul, to George and Frank for bringing you this action. And we'll do it all again. I think the venue's still to be agreed, but it looks like we'll be going to London. Either London or Birmingham. The next event starts on, it's August bank holiday weekend. I think it's August the 27th. We'll be there. Join us for it too. Thanks a lot. See you soon.